I'm Shaili Chopra, the founder of SheThePeople.tv and Gayatri.com. It's an absolute pleasure to bring you this show that is spotlighting 8 powerful women, everyday achievers, literally the girl next door who's made it big in something unique because she decided to dream big. And this is in partnership with Hershey's, a brand that many of us have grown up with for chocolates. But more importantly, I had never thought of them as one that puts her and she together until I started thinking about women. And what a powerful way to bring the brand name alive, to celebrate women day after day, to take invisible women who have otherwise done so much in their lives and say, let's take their story to the world. And how have they done that? Across chocolate wrappers, so that each time a young person or even a chocolate lover like me picks up something, I go back with much more satisfaction, excitement, and inspiration than having just enjoyed my chocolate. It's going back with the story of these amazing Sheroes that they have featured everywhere. And She the People is so excited to have partnered in this journey through them with this fantastic conversation that's coming up for you. We're going to deep dive into their journeys and know what they've been up to, how they dreamt what they did, and how did they actually get it done. All of that is playing out this afternoon. All of that on this special show. You too can join the Hershey movement and dedicate one to a woman who's inspired you. Just log on to hershey.co.in to celebrate your icon, your inspiration in a visual gallery. Joining me on the panel are many of the Sheroes that I've been talking about. Gitanjali Babbar is the founder and director of a non-profit called Kat Katha. Priyanka Mohite is the first Indian woman to conquer the Annapurna, the 10th highest mountain peak in the world. Sheetal Agarwal, a sociologist who's also a medical clown. She has impacted 2 lakh people by bringing a smile to their faces.
Captain Annie Divya, a pilot and now the world's youngest woman to fly the world's largest twin-engine jet at the age of 21.
Kiara Chetri, 18-year-old singer and songwriter who started studying music at the age of 3. Savita Shastri, Indian dancer and choreographer, one of the few dancers helping Indian classical dance gain popularity among young people. And Swarupa Anand Sokar, who is a bold and young tabla player, percussionist, and producer. She was in Forbes India 30 under 30. Himani Parab is a successful Malkham player who bagged herself the Arjuna Award, one of the biggest awards in the world of sport. Savita, thanks so much for joining us. Let's talk to you about your dance. What does dance mean to you?
Dance to me is a language, just like Hindi or Tamil. It's a modality of expression, and it is a passion. And to me, it's more than that. My passion is to be able to use dance as a medium to do something with or say something with. For instance, if you really had a passion about Tamil, then you would perhaps read books in Tamil or watch Tamil movies. But here, in my effort to do something with Bharatanatyam, what I would like to see is for people who are uninitiated, who never engage with the art form, to watch this.
Kiara Chetri, thanks very much for joining us. First off, really, your experience with music, what was it like?
So I had quite a very musical childhood. My mother owns a music academy in Gurgaon, and both my parents have been so supportive of my music. They never told me to sort of pursue a career that was more like science or something like that. And I'm so grateful for that, and they've been so supportive. And so I started learning the drums, guitar, singing, piano, keyboards at a very young age because of my mother. And I really did enjoy those classes a lot, and I knew that music was just something that I had to do for the rest of my life.
That does sound fascinating. Well, at least you and I have something in common. I love to drum, and I perhaps will dream to be a Kiara Chetri someday. Which is your favorite instrument of all the many that you play?
So I know this sounds, most people don't consider the voice as an instrument, but I do. And it's something that I learned quite later on. I didn't know that vocals could also be an instrument. So I would definitely say that my voice is my favorite instrument. But if you're talking about like guitar or drums or something, then it's definitely going to be my guitar. I love my guitar so much.
Gitanjali, thanks so much for joining us. Let's focus on your work with Katkatha. Tell us a little bit about why you started this and how did you step into, the world of social work.
So Katkatha I started because I just got a chance to go on GP Road, which is a red light area of Delhi. And when I went there for the first time, I was very young. I was 21 year old. And when I entered that space in those brothels and I looked at all the women who were just sitting there waiting for a customer and they were actually taking the customer, uh, it just didn't feel right to me. It just felt that there is some disconnect between the mainstream girls and these women, and why is it there? So that question was there, and when I came back home, it just didn't sit with me inside. So I went on to my officers with whom I entered that space while I was, at that time I was working with NACO, National AIDS Control Organization, and then they told me that our work is only to provide contraceptives. Our work is only to prevent them from HIV AIDS. Nothing else we can do. And that's when I just felt that maybe I can do something more, because I am not if I leave this job, then I can do whatever I want on this road. And that's when this journey started. There was no plan. A 21, 22-year-old girl who had no financial support, whose parents were also not okay with this decision. I just entered into those brothels and found some women who trusted in me. And we started with a book. And the journey is now continuing. It's been 10 years. Since we have registered ourselves as an organization called Katkatha, and the work is going on.
Sheetal, thank you very much for joining us. I want to ask you, what inspired you to become a medical clown, and what does that term even mean?
Medical clowning basically is a therapy wherein we dress up as clowns and visit hospital spaces to cheer up patients. The idea is that when a person is suffering, they're suffering both physically and mentally. But when we are admitted in a hospital, the care is only given to the physical aspect of health and not mental health. Why I became one is because I was obsessed with smiling. And for me, smiling always came as a defense because I was an introvert. So when I heard of the medical clowning, this whole concept, I thought I also want to try it.
Priyanka, thanks so much for joining us. Feats after feats, that's what a mountaineer always dreams of. Where did mountaineering emerge in your life from, Priyanka?
And as a kid, I was really fond of Discovery Channel, and what you can see on the Discovery Channel is none other than the mountains, and it used to attract me all the time. And then somewhere after 2012, I decided that I got to know about the mountaineering, and I thought to take the proper training about it, and I started climbing in the Himalayas. And I climbed my first mountain in 2012, and I think that was it. And I never looked back. And again, the journey of all other 8,000 meters, and it became my passion.
Himani, very welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. Talk to us about Malkham. What is this sport, and just being such an iconic figure in this sport? Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, Malkham is basically when you do yoga asanas on a pole or a hanging rope. So I started at a very young age of 5, and it was very inspiring to see my elder sister doing Malkham. And then I started doing like her, and that's when my journey for Malkham started.
Divya, thanks so much for joining us. Tell us about your journey as a pilot. How did that come about?
So it's literally like a dream coming true. As a young child, I wanted to know what's beyond clouds. How does it feel like going into the clouds and out? And I would definitely like to fly like a bird. So I went to my mom and I'm like, I want to fly and I want to fly like a bird. So my mom said, since you don't have wings, you got to earn your wings. And I'm like, how do I earn my wings? So she said, you got to become a pilot for that. And yes, I did earn my wings and I fly in and out of the clouds all the time today. So yeah, it's dream come true.
Swarupa, thanks very much for joining us. Straight up, what does music mean to you?
Thank you for having me here. For me, music is breath. It is every single moment of my life, and I think a lot of people's lives, whether they're musicians or not, I do believe that music has a very integral place in everyone's life.
There's nothing bigger than inspiration when it comes to role models. How does it feel like being part of chocolates that little kids will look at, read wrappers, and get deeply inspired?
For me, inspiration is everything. Getting inspired, being inspired, and being able to inspire. I think for me, what I've dreamt of as a kid is not really playing at this stage or winning a Grammy or any of those things. It's always been to be able to inspire. Even if I'm able to get one other girl or two other girls to look at me and say, I want to play the tabla like her, that's a victory for me. And Hershey's has really made that possible for me.
This is a really special conversation with very, very special women who are not just going to become now icons that everyday children and individuals get to know thanks to being on the wrapper of Hershey's chocolates, but their journeys are so moving, so inspirational. I'm really delighted to be part of this initiative, and I have got 8 such women who are truly trailblazers in their own workspaces. Kiara, just to ask you now about what would be your message to the child who's opening this wrapper and seeing Kiara Chetri on it?
Honestly, I mean, that just blows my mind. That one statement you made just blows my mind. And I feel like for me, more than it being my face and my name on the wrapper, for me, it's more about like them seeing that, oh my God, I can also be this one day. That your age does not sort of stop you from achieving your goals.
I'm actually going to go back to the round of our trailblazers here and go to Gitanjali and really focus on another element of this. You know, it takes large number of women to build sort of a change together, like in a sisterhood. But it also takes brands that think out of the box to recognize that we've got to put these women out there for the world to see. So, Gitanjali, tell us about how you feel about sparking that inspiration among young people as Hershey's takes you to every single store.
I'm still not able to believe it. Trust me. When the chocolates came to me, and I was like, "Is this me? Is this really me? Am I there?" But then I think the inspiration is not Gitanjali. The inspiration is the story which Hershey's has selected. And that's very important because some of the stories we have so many inspiration around us. But when you get such a limelight, then other people also, since 2 days, everybody's sharing my story. They know my work. They know everything. But when a brand like Hershey's recognize your work, the world also feels, okay, let me also look more about her work and let me also try something if they are scared of something. So I think the more we talk about such things, the more we talk about such inspirational stories, the more people will get inspired themselves. The young people will get inspired themselves. And the more people will start following their dreams. So I think it's very, very important to recognize that dream is important. Following that dream is important. And when you're on that journey, then brands like Hershey will support you in that. So this is what has happened here in my case.
That's great. I'm going to also ask Priyanka that. Priyanka, as you scale new summits, set new goals, it's that little lift that comes along the way and says, you know what, you've been doing a lot of hard work. Now it's time to tell the world.
Yes, definitely. Because it's not just about the climbing, but the hard work behind it's like a full year. We give like fully dedicated, and climbing is a one part. And I believe that even if climbing mountains is not at all easy, I never believed in the height of the mountain because each height will have a different stories and different difficulties. So climbing, like for example, like Annapurna one, it's like the one of the deadliest mountain in the world, and the success ratio is just 30%, and the death ratio is too much actually. And when I climbed it, I was like the happiest on the top, and I can just revive my journey in like within a minute, like what I have done, and from Everest to Annapurna, how I have came through it, and how I'm growing as a mountaineer and as a person as well. So that journey you can see, and a flashback I can say when you're on the top. So I think, yeah, definitely hard work is there, but we always believe just like summiting mountain is just a halfway, coming back is successful. So we are always happy on the top, but we celebrate when we come back, and that's what the hard work pay off.
See, all of these stories are totally giving me goosebumps, and I am trying to switch gears each time from one fascinating journey of a Shiro to another, and it's really moving to see how much change each one of you are bringing into this entire effort. From Priyanka, I'm now going across to Sheetal. She runs a amazing organization called Counselors, and she'll tell us why counselors and what a counselor like her does for people around us. Sheetal.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. So, counselor, as the name suggests, is clown plus counselor. So, we've all heard of clowns and counselors, but what happens when these two come together? So, that's what medical clowning is. We cater to mental health of patients by dressing up as clowns, wearing the red nose, and cheering them up. So, the idea is not performing for them, but engaging one on one with them. How do we make hospital spaces less gloomy, less anxious, and more positive? Because mental health is as important as physical health. So, counselors was born by accident. There was no plan of making this as an organization or even starting this as a full-time career for myself. I used to be a lecturer. I'm a trained sociologist, anthropologist, and when I did this for the first time, I saw how the hospital atmosphere changed. So tears turned into giggles. There was sound of laughter echoing in the corridors of the hospital. When I came out after 5 hours of clowning, I couldn't stop smiling myself. And there was so much impact that we had created that there was a parent who was saying that our child has laughed after many weeks right now. And our child was not eating. Now he started eating, so I'm sure he'll get better. Things like that. And that's what keeps us going.
That is so true. And I can only imagine what that parent or child both felt in this entire journey with someone like yourself. Brilliant initiative, Sheetal. Congratulations for that. And as we go from one person to the other, one keeps thinking about the fact that how many of us really thought when we were busy eating, the Hershey's throughout our lives that it brought together the term her and she so nicely. And I will now bring onto the conversation Divya, who's a pilot who I've been following for some time, her journey as well. Divya, it's not easy to take on your dreams. It takes a lot. But one person who gets their dreams out there can trigger the same for so many other children and other people. Talk to us about how it feels to be such an inspirational person.
Thank you so much for this. Firstly, I'm sure seeing this wrapper, a lot of people, a lot of girls have come up to me and asked their girls and if they can become pilots. And this shows that girls can become pilots, and the message is widely spread with this. Thank you so much for that.
I just notice how each one of you are so deeply passionate about these journeys, and you've seen multiple of them, right? Different careers, different success stories. What would be your advice to your younger self?
I think my younger self thought that the world began and ended with one objective. And what I've learned through wisdom and through dancing when I'm in my 50s and being at the top of my game is that objectives, can morph, can get into a place where sometimes it's unreachable. But if you keep your dream and your passion alive, and if you put in the work for it, because without the work, all of the passion doesn't mean anything. So if you just keep plugging away at it, even if it seems like a very everyday thing, somewhere and somehow, when things do fall in place, you might just be able to pick it up and run with it.
Beautiful. This is literally what you could do when you need energy. Pick up one of these Hershey's bars, which have all these amazing women in their stories, and literally run with it. I hear you. I'm going to bring in our other musician, Swarupa. Swarupa, as you plan your next big goals, what are you prioritizing for yourself?
Well, for myself, I'm also a mom. So I think my priorities are to be able to balance both of being a mother and not stopping my music at any point because I am a mother. So I think to be able to balance that out, and that's one of the biggest challenges I think working women face and have been facing for many years. But we've seen women right on top in multiple fields and take inspiration from them. And I think to be able to balance it out well in a way where I'm able to make my son proud and look at me and say, that's my mom, and I want her to do what she's doing and continue at that and not leave anything for me, and not stop following her passion. So I think that's a huge priority for me right now, apart from, of course, always spreading music.
That's great. I can see Himani Parab totally energized and she's smiling away because she's like, oh my God, these women are amazing, just as she is. So, Himani, you have the final word. What are you going to tell all the youngsters? And I keep thinking about it. It's not like the kids who eat chocolates, right? I love chocolates. I'll be the first person who gets myself a Empower bar. Let's call it that. What's the message?
So actually, when I received the chocolate bar, I took it to my practice place and I showed it to my students. And they were so excited to see me on the wrapper. They were like, "Where can we get the chocolate?" And I was so happy to see all this. And I feel like this is what will inspire everyone around us to select a goal for them. Like we can see, we are seeing there's an pilot amongst us. There's a, tabla player, a musician, and singer, and so girls can become whatever they want, and they just have to decide a thing, and they just have to work towards it. So I just feel you can decide your goal and you can work towards it. You will get it, and you can also be on the cover of a chocolate bar someday. Uh, if you if you keep going.
And that is a great ambition to have. Why not? Right? Why not? For all of you who've been energizing and inspiring me and our audiences, I just wanted to say a big thank you because each one of you has been so instrumental in the way we all think about ourselves and will remind us whether you come from a small idea to a big one. The sky is the limit, and I think it takes a real sense of innovation and renewed thinking to say, you know what, we're going to put all these women out there for the world to literally see in an everyday fashion. And in many ways, I am not just deeply impressed by the fact that Hershey's now can be seen as her and she, but the fact that they put all these amazing women on the wrappers. As a mother of two, I'm buying a lot of chocolate for more reasons than just eating it. Thank you all for joining us on this fantastic conversation with 8 amazing Sheroes. Stay tuned for many more stories of inspiring women on the show.